In the Philippines, there's this public health crisis that's been quietly brewing for years. But the latest data, well, it shows we've hit a shocking tipping point, one that's affecting millions of people. We're talking about a crisis that now touches nearly 40% of all adults. So what is going on here? For decades, the answer felt obvious, right? It was something we all heard at the dinner table. But it turns out the real story is so much more complex. And the main culprit? It's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. For as long as any of us can remember, this has been suspect number one, that big mountain of white rice on our plates. Bawasan ang kanin, cut back on the rice. That's been the go-to advice for everything, making rice the national scapegoat for our health problems. But here's the thing. Extra rice is not the final boss in this game. I mean, come on, Filipinos have been eating rice for thousands of years without this becoming an issue. The reality we really need to face is that our entire food environment, what's available in our stores, what's easy to grab, has been completely transformed. And honestly, it's broken. This is the number that should really make us all pause. Nearly 40% of Filipino adults are now classified as overweight or obese. And we're not just talking about a few extra pounds here. This is a full-blown nationwide public health emergency that has just exploded in only a few decades. And what's really, really concerning is that it's not just adults. This crisis is hitting our kids, the next generation, even harder. Right now, 1 in every 10 Filipino children is starting their life already at a major disadvantage, setting them up for a lifetime of health challenges. So, if it's not the race, then who or what is the real villain in the story? Okay, let's pull back the curtain and unmask the true culprit behind this national health crisis. So meet the antagonist, ultra-processed foods, or UPFs for short. Now, these aren't just foods that come in a package. No, these are industrial formulations. They are literally engineered in a lab to be so delicious, so hyperpalatable, that they actually hack our biology, making us completely ignore the signs that we're full. And they are absolutely everywhere. I mean, think about it. The instant noodles and 3-in-1 coffee that so many of us start our day with, the packaged chips we snack on, even those so-called healthy biscuits we give our kids, these UPFs have become the very foundation of the modern Filipino diet. This really gets to the heart of the issue. This isn't about a massive collective loss of willpower. It's about living in a food environment that has become hostile to our health. We're swimming in a sea of products literally designed to make us overeat. So, how does this hacking actually work? Let's dive into the science, because it's fascinating. Let's look at how these foods can manipulate our brain chemistry and our biology. You see, food scientists actually have a term for this. They call it the bliss point. It's this perfect, scientifically calculated combination of sugar, salt, and fat that just triggers a massive pleasure explosion in our brains. It has nothing to do with nutrition. It's all about engineering addiction. Okay, think of your body as having a satiety bouncer, a tough security guard at a club whose job is to tell you when you've had enough. Well, the bliss point in these UPFs is like a VIP pass that lets them just waltz right past that bouncer. So the hey, stop eating signal never even gets sent to your brain. So here's the battle raging inside you. On one side, you have leptin, the hormone that says, hey, we're full, you can stop now. It gets completely ignored. At the exact same time, dopamine, that reward chemical, floods your brain, screaming, this feels incredible, do it again. And in that fight, the UPF always wins. But that biological hack isn't the only trick up their sleeve. These products have an accomplice, one that helps them sneak right into our shopping carts. It's a really deceptive marketing tactic called health washing. Oh, you have seen these labels everywhere. A sugary fruit drink that screams, good source of vitamin C on the front. Or a cookie that's just loaded with sugar but boasts it's made with real fruit. These are just tiny little truths used to hide a much bigger, unhealthier reality, to hide the massive amounts of corn syrup, sodium, and unhealthy fats inside. But as it turns out, our food environment isn't the only thing at play here. For a lot of us, our own genetics play a really crucial and often misunderstood role in this whole crisis. So researchers have identified this specific gene called FTO. It's often nicknamed the obesity gene, and about 30% of Filipinos carry a high-risk version of it. Now, this doesn't mean you're destined to be overweight, not at all, but it does make your body much more vulnerable to the effects of our modern food environment. What's just incredible is that this gene used to be a massive advantage. It helped our ancestors be really efficient at storing energy to survive famines. But that ancient survival superpower has become a modern flaw. When someone with this gene lives in a world full of UPFs, their personal risk of obesity literally doubles. This captures our dilemma perfectly. Our bodies, our ancient hardware, they evolved for a world of scarcity. But now, we're trying to operate that hardware in a digital, software food world of endless, super dense calories. It is a fundamental biological mismatch.
Okay, so the problem is clear. The science is, well, it's a little scary. But it is not hopeless, not even close. We absolutely have the power to fight back. So let's talk about how we can start reclaiming our health.
Here is a super simple 3-step strategy. First, shop the edges of the grocery store. That's where the fresh produce, the fish, the eggs, all the real food is. Just try to avoid those middle aisles. Second, the rice pivot. Look, rice isn't the enemy, but the portion really matters. Try filling half your plate with vegetables first. It helps slow down that sugar spike. And third, stop drinking your calories. Seriously, water is the only drink your metabolism truly actually needs.
And you know what? This does not have to be expensive. You don't need fancy imported superfoods. The real secret sauce is right there in our local markets. We're talking about nutrient-packed powerhouses like malunggay, kangkong, and galunggong. They're affordable, they're accessible, and they are exactly what our bodies are crying out for.
But look, while these personal steps are absolutely crucial, we have to be honest with ourselves. This problem wasn't created by individual choices, and it can't be solved by them alone. To really truly fix this, we have to think bigger. We need to push for systemic change.
And that leaves us with one final question to think about. The food itself has been fundamentally re-engineered, right? So shouldn't the labels be re-engineered too? Maybe it's time we start asking if we need clear, simple front-of-package warnings that tell us the real story about what's actually inside.